took the picture and that kind of thing. What separates them? What makes the difference? Exactly. This is the question that we raised. Okay? All right. Some proposals include its form, its expressiveness, the intentions of the maker, or its social roles or uses. Okay, these are some different proposals on how to define art. We're going to look at some guidelines here later by a guy named Dennett. These are kind of fundamental concepts of Dennis Day. I knew this was at home. These are kind of some common conceptions of how to approach defining what art is. Anybody read the excerpts out of the book yet? Okay. All right. Well, I was hoping some of you read that, Marcus or Danto or something. All right. All right. The question of how to interpret art comes immediately after how you define art. Now you got to figure out. We've decided this is art. Okay, great. Now what? Right. Now what? All right. Well, one way is to emphasize the work as products of individual efforts. So artwork should be understood in the context of that producer's skill, knowledge, and intentions. If you're looking at comparative stuff, you're looking at that artist within his own framework, all right, or over time. How many of you can think of a rock group or a famous, contemporary group of music that you like, that you can look at their old stuff and then you can look at their latter stuff and you can see the progression, how they change. Anybody think of a group like that you can see change in their style and how they progressed?
I can see the reverse of that a lot of times.
The reverse of that?
Yeah, they had someone's passion or whatever when they first got started. They could hit all sorts of notes. Live concerts were awesome. And, you look at stuff like 3, 5, 10 years down the line and they're just like, I'm famous, I don't really have to try.
They're sloppy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I haven't looked at it that way. It can go the other way, I suppose. If you lose your passion for it, I suppose they could. It just becomes a gig. It becomes I'm doing this for money, possibly. I'm not saying that that's what's happened, but you start to see that could be a possibility. I'm tired. I've played this song 10,000 times. Now, just give me my money. I'll play it for you. You see your piece. You can see that. That's a possibility. I can think of one, that started out, in their style in the early 80s was so very different from what they were doing in the 90s. And it's just that progression, so you can kind of see that progression, and certainly with an artist. And I guess it could go the other way. Maybe they get tired of doing it, but they do it professionally to make money, and then they just, perhaps get sloppy at times a little bit. Okay, another way to interpret is to see the meaning of a work as established by social conventions and practices of the artist's own time, but which may not actually be understood by the producer of it. Okay? And what we're saying is that sometimes they become an unconscious medium of their own culture in their own time. They're doing something that, just by the fact that they put this as a painting, whatever it is, they're just painting a scene, of corporate America or whatever, but they're actually showing the values or interpreting something in their own culture without realizing what they're doing that may or may not be picked up by that same culture, or perhaps later a person can look back and say, well, in that time they valued these things, and that's what this guy is, this is what he is doing his artwork around these values. And another is to see the meaning as established by the users. So then the artist becomes sort of background. He becomes less important than what the users were. How many of you think that in Da Vinci's own time that kind of work was worth a whole lot of money? Yeah, it was worth something, because portraits were worth something. Well, to the family, not to somebody else, right?
Didn't Picasso, like all the paintings he didn't get popular until years after his death, I think.
No, Picasso was known during his own. He's one of those that was pretty famous in his own time. I remember seeing it was footage of him drawing a bull and drilling really fast. It was amazing how fast he could paint. He just whipped it out. You know? No, that's Van Gogh. Van Gogh cut the ear off. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
He's one of the ones who wasn't famous when he was alive, right?
What's
Or was
that?
he famous? When he was alive, he wasn't famous?
I don't think his works became really valuable until after. I think that you're correct on that. I think that he was not, and obviously he would have been seen as a rather eccentric individual. Anybody that cut their own ear off and seems some gal, I mean, you've got you get some hang-ups, you know, if you do something like that. I mean, whatever point you're proving, I don't know, but you certainly made one. You certainly made one. If nothing else, that you're not really saying. But hey, each to their own. You know, you want to cut your ear off, guy? That's, I guess, your business. All right.
I think also maybe if you're creating a new style of art that opens people's views, like is it impression art? All the ones with like little bitty dots.
Oh, there's different kinds of, there's impressionists and there's...
And like oil paintings and texture paintings and all sorts. I think one of the most recent ones I saw that was really cool was they have a light board like this desk with an underlighting, and then they have sand. And they'll do this picture with sand, and a projector will put it on like a screen in the auditorium, and they'll do a picture with sand, and then they'll start warping that picture. It's almost like living art, because you start with one picture and you'll end up with something totally different. They usually like to tell stories with it. It's really cool.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. And it may be something that's, you know, our time, our era lies into. Some of the theories that are included in the philosophy of art are, and you just need to know what they are, okay? We're not going to get in depth into all this. We will get into expression here in a moment. But taste, beauty, imagination, creativity, representation, expression, and style. These two, representation and expression, we are going to kind of see those themes come up here in a little bit. But these are different types of things that are under that big category of philosophy of art. All right, deals with all these issues. Okay. Philosophy of art also includes questions like, do artworks convey knowledge or truth? What was our second chapter that we studied in this class?
Knowledge.
Study knowledge, right?